Hello, I'm Chara Armon, and as you know, if you've watched any of the talks in this conference, I am the host of the conference and the co-creator of the event with Loren Gailey. What I would like to talk to you about on my own here with you today is why I created the event, how I hope it has or will benefit you. Then I'm going to offer you 3 tools or practices that can support you with fully benefiting from this event. And I'm also going to tell you about a course I'm offering in case you would like to go even deeper. I created this event because I wanted to offer knowledge and tools for hope, trust, and empowered action. If you follow mass media, you are probably going to feel that we may be doomed here on Earth. Social justice, environmental, and human well-being problems surround us on every side. People tell one another that the rational response is to feel hopeless, despairing, pessimistic, and afraid. But if you look further, if you look deeper, if you look more broadly, and you notice the astonishing array of regenerative solutions that are being implemented all over the world, I believe the rational response then becomes one of hope, inspiration, optimism, and confidence. So I've brought you these 4 days of speakers to show you why I believe all of this is true. Our speakers for this conference are people who are deeply engaged in creating healing and regeneration for people and planet. All of them work in some way with the well-being of individual people and their communities. All of them work in some way with repairing the human relationship to Earth, her beings, and all of her systems. I really hope that you have been able to set aside time to learn from these speakers and ask yourself how you would like to be changed by experiencing this conference. I believe Loren is very kindly going to leave the conference up and available on her websites for some time. So if there are speakers you've missed, you haven't run out of time. Maybe you already participate in the subtle activism that David Nichol has presented, and you're committing to more engagement in quiet but profound energetic support for healing change. Maybe the dynamic New Earth and Ascension teachings of Patricia Cota-Robles will activate you. Maybe you've been inspired by Ray James's story of transitioning from a conventional career to now creating a wellness business that is building a regenerative farm in Jamaica to grow its main product, moringa. Maybe you want to learn to communicate directly with animals, as Kara Gubbins and Kate Solisti have explored in their talks, or with plants like Jim Conroy and Bazia Alexander. All 3 of these speakers have given us practical tools to implement to deepen our own intuitive and rational and emotional and spiritual communication with animals and plants. Maybe you want to support soil, as Akila Martin and Ray James discuss, engage in community endeavors as Akila does, or commit to gardening and regenerative farming like Ray. Perhaps your role is cultivating the healing, nurturing energy of the divine feminine, as Amaya Cohen discusses how to do, or working with other dimensional beings like Jaylene Tracy, or directly with Earth herself, like Rachel Fotenhauer and Sam Fotenhauer. You might feel drawn to clearing your own trauma and pain, as Joy Baker and Jaylene Tracy discuss, so you can be a brighter, clearer presence for our collective of people and planet. Maybe you are called to work with youth like Eli Marienthal, or with nature-oriented mystery school teachings like Azra Bertrand. Whatever you learn or find moving in this series of talks and the many resources available from our speakers, I hope you will leave this conference feeling that all is not lost on this planet. On the contrary, we are entering a new age of flourishing for all life. We are all here for the united purpose of up-leveling our own thriving and the thriving of every person, plant, animal, and ecosystem on Earth, in partnership with this planet, who is our mother, our mentor, and our life support system. So how do we do this? How do we shift from worry or eco-anxiety into inspired action? Well, each one of our speakers has offered you several tools and access to their teachings or offerings. I'm going to offer you 3 practices that I recommend and then tell you about an additional opportunity. One of the ways that you can collaborate with Earth and her beings to create healing and wholeness is something that I call wise focus, which also can be explained through current neuroscience and ideas about ways that our brains work. So I'm going to talk about that for a couple of minutes before I give you these 3 tools. I truly believe in all of my mind and heart that one of the biggest entry points into each of you participating in this new era of flourishing that I really believe we are beginning to co-create on Earth, one of the main entry points is how you think and perceive. And so I'm going to give you some insights into that. This is not only about your own well-being, which is very, very important, but this is about thinking and perceiving in a way that allows you to contribute in a co-creative way and at a high vibration. We are meant to be life partners with Earth and all of her plant, animal, microbial, and elemental inhabitants. This is not only our calling as human beings, but it is our grand opportunity now. One of the shadow sides of what we're experiencing on the planet with so many challenges is that we can all too easily lapse into brain states of pessimism, fear, worry, eco-anxiety. Those brain states are a normal part of human existence, but they need to be carefully managed because they not only can harm our well-being, but they hinder us from contributing to restoring our planet. Happily, both neuroscience and spirituality and the history of activism show us that cultivating more of an eco-inspiration brain state not only literally benefits our mental and our physiological well-being, but it also promotes our engagement with the environmental restoration and the social repair that is needed right now on our planet. As Wangari Maathai, the great Kenyan humanitarian and Nobel Peace Prize laureate, stated in her book, Replenishing the Earth, in the process of helping the earth to heal, we help ourselves. So what you're experiencing in your mindset, your outlook, your mood, your beliefs, your rational assessment of the world is truly important, both for your own well-being and for how you engage in the world. And cultivating the higher vibrational or psychologically healthier brain states not only will heal you, but help you to heal the planet. It is absolutely true that we face some intimidating problems right now, but staying in anxiety creates what neuroscientists describe as a freeze response in our brains. That freeze response, it occurs in our brains and elsewhere in our physiology and body chemistry, shuts down the optimism and innovation that are needed to regenerate life on Earth. So what I want you to watch for is, how many people do you know who share their upset about environmental problems and their effects on people and animals and ecosystems, yet they make few or no contributions to solutions because this brain state of anxiety and upset is really kind of holding them in the freeze position. In his book, Hardwiring Happiness, neuroscientist Rick Hansen describes the human brain's state of anxiety, stress, and pessimism as the activity of our reactive and more primitive red brain, as he calls it. Conversely, in Hansen's terminology, our green brain state is our responsive and more evolved mode of confidently meeting challenges and enjoying life's pleasures without getting stuck in the stress response. Red brain puts us into a state of withdrawal, self-protection, and fear. And not only is this a very hard place to live, and it's literally hard on our physiology and can cause health problems, but when we're in this anxious, fearful red brain state, we are too afraid and too frozen to imagine or believe in the bold and regenerative solutions that are needed on Earth at this time. Humans, if you look at our history, accomplish our greatest acts from a foundation of inspiration and not fear. When we are creative, it's because first we were hopeful, not terrified. And as someone who originally trained in history, I can cite a lot of examples. Here are a couple that I like. When the suffragettes who were activating for votes for women about a century ago engaged publicly, they did not attain success by bemoaning how unattainable equal rights appeared to be. That makes me worry when I hear people say, well, we need to solve climate change, but we probably won't. Similarly, Wangari Maathai did not found the Greenbelt movement in Kenya out of some kind of depressive assumption that reforesting her home country would be impossible. Just the opposite. She trained Kenyan women to tend and plant tree seedlings because she was acting from that green brain confidence that they could reforest their country while providing food and fuel and jobs to rural women. Since 1977, the Greenbelt movement has planted over 51 million trees. That is a totally inspiring example of what happens when you let your green brain state lead. Another example I love, in 2013, the 18-year-old European teenager Boyan Slat looked at the crisis of plastic in the world's oceans, wondered why older adults were saying they couldn't find a solution to clean it up, and decided to see if he could develop a solution. His green brain determination carried him and a whole team of people that he created through adjusting a couple of failed prototypes until in 2021, the Ocean Cleanup Project achieved some really notable successes in starting to clean up the Great Pacific Garbage Patch in the Pacific Ocean. And not only did Boyan Slat and his team show us that there is a relatively simple and feasible way to start cleaning up trash in our oceans, but they then went on to develop the Interceptor, which is a device that stops plastic from entering oceans through rivers in the first place. Wangari Maathai's and Boyan Slat's innovations are the type of green brain response that we need right now on planet Earth. This is just as true in your personal life. If you have invested somehow in renewable energy or an electric vehicle or a good bicycle or composting or gardening or better insulating your home or contributing to a community garden or children's time in nature, if you're doing anything to support wellness, healing, and regeneration on this planet, you're not doing it from some kind of red brain belief that your action will create zero impact. Actually, you are probably contributing in any positive way that you are from some degree, some significant degree of a green brain perspective of hope and inspiration and enthusiasm and love for humanity and planet Earth. So I really urge you to consider Hanson's model of red brain and green brain and the environmental healing examples that I have given. Know that green brain is the only brain state that leads to happiness and fulfillment and thriving for the individual and also for the world that that individual lives in. I'm now going to give you 3 practices that I believe can help you as you step forward into whatever is your own next stage of personal thriving and contributing to the thriving of life on this precious planet. The first practice is something I call wise focus. And it's very connected to, it's even a tool for creating the green brain state. So if you want to suffer less and help more, you can curate your green brain state by practicing wise focus. One of the ways to do this is to read news stories that report on the many extraordinary, wonderful things that are happening as we try to heal our planet and ourselves. I turn to the Optimist Daily Solutions News and the Solutions Journalism Network. There's also the Good News Network, and there are some other options. Read books that are leading us beyond despair and into innovation. I like Transition Town's founder, Rob Hopkins' book, From What Is to What If, climate negotiators Christiana Figueres and Tom Rivet-Carnack's book, The Future We Choose, ecologist Stephen Harding's Animate Earth, and Native American botanist Robin Wall Kimmerer's Braiding Sweetgrass, and dozens more. So curating your news exposure, spending less time absorbing through print media, online media, audio media, spending less time absorbing reports on everything that's wrong and more time exposing yourself to reports on what's going well and how so many people around the world are doing amazingly tender and caring things for people and planet. That is practicing wise focus, and that can really help you to spend more and more time in the green brain state. Similarly, reading books that are advocating for and explaining positive healing solutions is also a wise focus move. So what exactly is wise focus? When you are practicing wise focus, you do hold awareness of the world's problems and traumas. This is not about putting your head in the sand, but you keep your attention and energy directed primarily to the healing and regeneration that are possible and that are already in progress. And so this is why I really advocate that you find those news media outlets like the Optimist Daily Solutions News, Solutions Journalism Network, Good News Daily, I think is another one. You find those so that you're aware of all of the beneficial and positive things occurring. With wise focus, you also are practicing holding the intention and the vision of the outcome you desire to experience. that we solve climate change. And by the way, we have dozens of scientific papers showing that we can actually reverse climate change quite quickly by drawing down carbon through regenerative agriculture practices. If you want resources, just email me. So wise focus is holding the intention and the vision of the outcome that you desire to experience and to see occur on the planet, not focusing on the intimidating aspects of our current problems. Humans are creative beings who create what we hold in mind. So if you desire to contribute to healing and regeneration, you must practice wise focus. And with the examples I've given, such as Wangari Maathai and Boyan Slat, and I could offer you many, many others, we see that indeed the people who do contribute in a meaningful regenerative way are really practicing wise focus. Of course, you don't have to do this on a global scale as Wangari Maathai and Boyan Slat did. You could do this in your own backyard or just in your neighborhood, and it is just as impactful. So again, to practice wise focus, you want to find examples of things you see as signs of flourishing and well-being for humans and Earth. Finding the positive media sources is really helpful here. You might discover that you feel really encouraged by the renewable energy transition, which is growing by leaps and bounds. You might get really excited by global and local efforts in conservation and rewilding. You might feel personally inspired by the renewed global interest in spirituality that honors all forms of life, all beings on this planet, and all people. Environmental justice endeavors to address the severe problems being faced by people experiencing poverty, who often are people of color, might be an area where you feel excited and want to know more or contribute. Holistic healthcare, which is often very good for people and our planet. Justice for animals, care for animals, the regenerative agriculture transition, nature-based preschools, or the increasing numbers of people who communicate with plants and animals. These are just a few of the examples of things that are going on this planet that might really light you up. So I recommend that you spend time daily finding out about and observing some of these really positive developments. Once again, I have no affiliation with the Optimist Daily Solutions News, but they've been very supportive for me over the years. The Good News Network is another example, and also Solutions Journalism. So what I predict for you, because I have found it myself, and actually many spiritual teachers also talk about this, is that once you start practicing wise focus, you will see signs of hope and healing and regeneration everywhere you look. Because once you start to recognize them, they will show up for you more and more. You will realize that they are all around us. So wise focus is the first practice that I'm offering you today. The second is to gain support from nature. We humans do need to take an active role right now. We need to repair the damage that we've created on this planet. But we are not expected to do that without support. I really believe that the era of the burned out, self-sacrificing, or lonely or impoverished activist is over. In this conference, Rachel Fotenhauer and Sam Fotenhauer have offered you practices for directly connecting to Earth for support. Both Rachel and Sam are masters at this, and I really encourage you to learn from them. I'm going to encourage you to call in a plant or animal guide who can help you see and understand what your own regenerative contribution might be, whatever its scale, at home or more public. And I'm encouraging you to call in this plant or animal guide so that you feel more supported and more sustained. We are not alone on this planet. Anyone who has ever loved a companion animal or loves spending time in nature or watching birds or anything like that, you know, we're not alone here. And we are also not the only ones with intelligence. So this is an aside that I don't have time to go into right now, but I will tell you that you can turn to academic researchers Mark Bekoff and Matthew Hall. Mark Bekoff has been incredibly prolific with scholarly publications and books for a popular audience. Matthew Hall's book is Plants as Persons. You can turn to both of these scientists for scientific evidence of animal and plant intelligence. You can also turn to the world's indigenous shamanic traditions for spiritual evidence of animal and plant wisdom, and you can experience this for yourself. So if you're comfortable doing this in primarily an intellectual way, that's fine. Identify a plant or an animal who displays characteristics that are inspiring and encouraging to you. Our plant and animal sisters and brothers are so extraordinarily resilient, persistent, caring toward one another, collaborative. Oh my goodness, I don't even have time right now to talk about the latest scientific research on how plants are collaborating together in ecosystems. It's mind-blowing. But no, one of the researchers is Suzanne Simard in the Pacific Northwest. You already know, and I'm just reminding you, plants and animals express extraordinary characteristics that are inspiring to us. So to simply choose a plant or animal that does inspire you can help you to feel supported and connect to that plant or animal physically or with photos. A spiritual version of this is to get quiet. Place your focus into your own heart space. State your intention to become aware of the plant or animal guide who can help you see and understand how you are called to contribute to regenerating life on this planet, and who can help you feel supported, stable, loved, cared for. Just sit in quiet openness. Observe any images or words or feelings that come to you. If you need to repeat this practice a few times until this guide shows up, that's totally fine. Then all you have to do is have the heartful willingness to spend time in heart-based conversation with this guide. You don't need to feel alone. This is a challenging time on this planet, and humans do bear a lot of responsibility right now, but you can feel supported and held as you discern and pursue whatever your contribution is. The third practice I recommend is that you choose a place in nature where you can connect to the life community and gain support and peace and groundedness. And this is also a place where you can ask, what am I here to contribute? How do my unique combination of skills, talents, passions, fears, loves, resources uniquely qualify me to help and contribute to the regenerative transition? You may feel guided to simply make changes in your personal life and your household, and that is completely fine. As more and more of us do that, we will transform how we live on planet Earth. You may feel guided to contribute in your neighborhood, in your workplace, in your town or city, your county or your state, or some of you feel a vocation or calling to contribute on a much bigger level. Wherever you feel called to contribute is 100% valid. So please find a place in nature. This might just be your urban balcony where you can see the sky, or it may be a park, it may be a forest, a nature preserve, whatever is accessible to you, and wherever you feel some connection with nature and planet Earth. Go there as often as possible physically. You can also go there in your mind when you can't go physically. Connect. Know that you are part of this luscious, extraordinary, divine life community on this planet. You are wanted, you are needed. Your special place can help you to feel grounded, centered, clear, and inspired. And that is what we all need right now. If you want to go deeper with these kinds of practices and gain more support from me, as part of this conference, I am offering my collaboration with Earth course. And you can read about it both on my website, humansandearth.com, under the courses tab. And you can also read a shorter description of the course here on the web pages that Loren Gailey and her team have created for this conference. I designed the collaboration for Earth course for anyone who yearns to contribute to regeneration of the natural world and human well-being. I designed the course for anyone who believes that we can co-create justice and well-being for all life, but is feeling somewhat unsure how to proceed. I designed the course for anyone who is really wondering how your sense of calling translates into practical actions. You might be feeling restless, maybe even a little frustrated, because you really feel like you are here to do something, to contribute something, and you're not quite sure how to turn that into actions. I also designed the course for anyone who wants to feel more whole and supported as you offer your contribution to the world's flourishing. The course is a 7-module, 7-week course with a guidebook and accompanying videos. There will also be 2 live Q&A calls so that you can access me. What you'll gain from the course is a deeper awareness of why wise focus is crucial and how to actually practice it so that you can contribute to solutions rather than staying stuck in sadness or worry about the world's problems. You will also gain strategies for cultivating what I call reverent relationship with plants, animals, places, nature beings, spirit beings, and Earth herself. With reverent relationship, you practice something that is very needed right now, which is for more and more of us to learn that the contributions we make in our life on this planet are meant to be collaborations with other beings, not domination of them. The course also gives you tools for both clarifying and embodying your regenerative vision and choosing your path of action, whether it's at your personal life and household scale, in your local community, larger community, or maybe the larger world. The course offers you insight into how to make your contribution from a place of soulful sovereignty and support, not exhausting self-sacrifice. We really need to move beyond the age of the burned out activist. The course additionally gives you awareness of how to practice sacred collaboration with other people and with plants and animals and spirit beings. The course gives you practices for designing and creating regenerative outcomes, and also reminds you to make space for assessment and celebration. Too often, humans have been very active in our practices, our choices, our innovations on this planet, and we haven't stopped often enough to assess, is this working? Is this creating harm? If it's creating harm, how can I improve how I'm living on this planet? So both assessment and celebration are important. Celebration, of course, being something that fuels our continued participation in life on Earth. I truly believe that everyone can find their way to offer a heart-based contribution to the regeneration of Earth's and humanity's well-being, and that doing so benefits your well-being. Your contributions are valid and needed, no matter whether they are smaller or larger in scale. If all of this sounds appealing to you, or even if any of it does, I welcome you to join this 7-module course with the PDF guidebook, the accompanying videos, and 2 live Q&A calls with me. And those will be recorded in case the times don't work for you. And I will offer an opportunity for you to submit questions by email if you cannot attend live. If you'd like to learn more from me, you can find me at humansandearth.com. I offer one-on-one intuitive mentoring consultations to support your unfolding contributions to creating flourishing for yourself and life on planet Earth. I also offer the Humans and Earth podcast and e-courses. And as I've said, through this conference, you are welcome to enroll now in my Collaboration with Earth course. I hope you do. I'd love to see you there. Thank you so much for participating in this conference. It's been a significant amount of work for me to create it, but of course, it only comes to fruition when there are people who receive the creation. So thank you for doing that. Please feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. You can find me at humansandearth.com.
This has been a presentation of New Earth One Network, your home for New Earth living. Access information, education, and videos on living from the heart in unity consciousness. Visit newearth1.com.